The Early Access program was first introduced to Steam in 2013, and over the past 9 years has become something of a minefield. Most games released this way either end up dead, or the developers fall short of the promises they have made. In either scenario, players are left frustrated and upset, as they feel cheated and lied to by the people they invested in. It isn't a perfect system, and buying an early access game usually amounts to the act of gambling, but every once in a while, one of these games fulfills its promises and surprises fans. An example of a recent title that fits this category is Vampire Survivors, an indie title that took the internet by storm. With a simple game loop that is addicting and rewarding, Vampire Survivors gives a massive amount of value for its low price of $3, and the developer has continued to update and support the game as promised. But like any other popular trend in gaming, Vampire Survivors is now beginning to have the success of its formula copied, and it feels like the developer of 20 Minutes Till Dawn wants a piece of that action. And you know what? I don't blame them. Even I attempted to make my own Vampire Survivors spin-off after I played the game. So Flane, no disrespect from me, at least you released your project. 20 Minutes Till Dawn is a roguelike bullet hell shooter in which you must survive for 20-minute intervals to complete levels. Currently, it is in early access and available on Steam for $3. With controls that resemble a twin-stick shooter, 20 Minutes Till Dawn feels like the amalgamation of Enter the Gungeon and Vampire Survivors, though, regrettably, it is missing the dodge roll mechanic of the former. With punchy particle effects and fun weapons to fire, the hectic battles in 20 Minutes Till Dawn are satisfying to play. The core design of the game definitely has several similarities to Vampire Survivors, but has been modified enough to where it feels like a unique experience, though I did find myself at times thinking how shallow it felt in comparison. But, using the rule of getting an hour of gameplay per dollar spent, there is enough content here for you to get your money's worth, and in being hopeful, future updates will add to what is already here. Currently, the game has 3 play modes: Standard, Quick Play, which halves the survival time to 10 minutes but disables achievements, and a high score endless mode. The Standard mode levels are split up into 15 different tiers of darkness. Each of these tiers you complete unlocks the next and compounds the difficulty of the game. Like Vampire Survivors, each run will reward you with the game's currency, which you can use to purchase runes that are passive upgrades and characters which have a unique ability. Unlike its counterpart, you can also purchase and select which weapon you will take into the next stage. I personally like the design of this, as you can mix and match what weapon goes with which character and predetermine what runes you are going to use in your next run. Runes come in 2 categories: Sword and Shield, which are offensive and defensive buffs respectively. You can select a single talent from each of the 4 tiers per side, and must add points to unlock more powerful skills. For example, if I want to focus on burning and ice damage, I can select runes that will trigger abilities off those debuffs. Or, if I want to play a more defensive build, I can pick talents that will increase survivability and speed. There is a good variety of skills here to mix and match, and once you get the second tier in each category, the game begins to open up and things become easier. The upgrades you find in each level will also improve aspects of your weapons and abilities. Every time you level up, you will be given a choice of 5 different upgrades to choose from. These upgrades can range from increasing offensive capabilities and summoning familiars, to increasing movement speed and survivability. Each run will have you picking a different set of upgrades to best suit your selected loadout, though currently, you will end up choosing a majority of the same upgrades every run, once you know which ones are better than others. Regardless, there are still a few unique builds you can create depending on what weapon and character you have selected. Now, let's talk about shooting things. Each of the weapons in 20 Minutes Till Dawn has its own unique properties and will mesh better with certain runes and upgrades. The pistol is your all-around standard gun. It is best combined with fire rate and damage runes and any upgrade that improves the characteristics of bullets. I found that if I was having a difficult time finishing a tier of darkness, defaulting to the pistol would usually end in victory. The shotgun, usually my favorite gun of any game, is my least favorite here. The fire rate is slow, the damage subpar, and it lacks that certain punch I would expect it to have. The shotgun's best combinations are debuff runes, like fire or ice, and any upgrade that focuses on reload effects, like faster reload speed or fan fire, which shoots bullets in random directions on reload. It is with a heavy heart that I must make this apology to the shotgun in 20 minutes till dawn. Initially, I thought you were trash and a terrible weapon, but I couldn't have been more wrong. After realizing how OP you are, I have to say, you are among the best of them. The crossbow is a powerful but slow weapon that can be charged up to deal high amounts of damage. It is a weapon of patience and precision, as you must line up your shots to hit as many enemies as possible. Upgrades and runes that affect the number of projectiles you fire are very useful here, like the Fusillade upgrade, which doubles the amount of shots your weapon projects. The flame cannon is an interesting weapon that scales extremely well. At first, the damage is low and you mainly rely on enemies burning until they die, but after a few elemental upgrades and the combination of using the elemental runes, the flame cannon can make short work of large groups of enemies. I recommend having the dragon summon to support the flame cannon, as the extra burning damage helps defeat tougher foes. I found the dual SMGs to be the hardest weapon to start the game with. With low damage per bullet and long reload times, the early game is a test of patience and skill. Using runes that improve reload speed and upgrades that increase character movement are vital for the SMG. Specifically Run and Gun, which increases your walk speed by 100%, and Kill Clip, which increases reload speed by 5% for each kill before reloading. The Bat Gun, to my surprise, is by far my favorite gun in the game. With its projectiles counting as both bullets and summons, the Bat Gun can become ridiculously overpowered. Though almost any upgrade is worth having due to its unique projectile property, Dual Shot and Fusillade are a must. Firing 6 bats per shot and covering the screen in projectiles is fascinating to see, and nothing survives. The grenade launcher is a high-risk, high-reward weapon. Its powerful attack can make short work of most enemies, but will also damage you if you get caught in the blast. Runes and upgrades that focus on movement speed and survivability are necessary here, and whatever you do, stay far, far away from fanfire. Trust me, it doesn't end well. The last of the current weapon selection, and my second favorite, is the magic bow. Arrows fired from the bow will stick in the ground and then be pulled back to the player on reload. Because of this, runes and upgrades that improve reload are a good fit, as well as anything that increases the projectiles fired. I didn't expect the arrow retrieval mechanic to work as well as it did, but it can devastate groups of enemies if aimed correctly. While synergizing weapons with runes and upgrades will be your main source of optimization, characters also have unique abilities with their own benefits. For example, Spark has a 50% chance to cast lightning on bullet impact. Synergizing this with the elemental damage runes and the electro upgrades can quickly turn the tide of battle on the later stages. Though these buffs do help, I didn't find them as impactful as matching my weapon to what runes I selected before starting a run. It's a nice added bonus to have, but I would save unlocking characters for last. The enemy roster in 20 minutes till dawn is one aspect of the game that I think could use improvement. Currently, there are only about 5 different types of basic enemies, and 5 different bosses. Level to level, these enemies don't change, and you will always face the same enemy types in the same order. While this gives you the knowledge of what's coming, and the ability to choose your upgrades accordingly, it also makes every run the same, and the game starts to feel repetitive very quickly. While the same can be said about Vampire Survivors, at least that game features different levels with different enemy types. Here, you play the same level with the same enemies over and over as you progress. This is currently the weakest aspect of the game, and hopefully will be improved in future updates. Speaking of improvement, the music in 20 minutes till dawn is decent, but could use some variety. Like the levels themselves, the music that plays is the same on every run, and while I do enjoy the song, it did get repetitive on my 6th or 7th attempt. This doesn't have a huge impact on the game, but is just more of an observation. A simple solution to this would be to have a second track that can alternate after every run, reducing ear fatigue. Overall, I enjoyed my time playing 20 minutes till dawn. It was a welcomed fix after finishing the content in Vampire Survivors. And though it is a more shallow experience than its counterpart, it does offer around 5 to 6 hours of gameplay before it starts to feel repetitive. And, at a $3 price point, you will definitely get your money's worth. And who knows, this might be one of the early access games that delivers on its promises, and more content might be right around the corner. I guess we'll just have to wait until dawn.